Video blog.
Hey guys, Tim from Twice Circled here, and welcome to the latest episode of the official Megaquarium video blog. I've got a huge update for you today. By the time you're watching this, the update should already be live from wherever you get the game from. And there's a lot of stuff I've got to show you, so let's get straight to it. Okay, so the first thing is quite a nice upgrade to the Sandbox options. So you've got a load of new options now available to you, and even some new presets, so some new kind of suggested ways to play the game. And we're actually going to check out one of those today as a way of showing you some of the cool new stuff in this update. So okay, so let's just go through these. So if you let's start with the main options, then I'll go through some of the presets. So the first thing is there is a new option here on the right-hand side of the, I think this used to be fish availability, it's now animal availability. Because of course, not all the animals are fish in this game. And you've now got a new one, which is called Everything Unlocked. You've also, by the way, got some tooltips on this this window, this tab now, which is pretty helpful, because before you had to sort of guess what everything did. Now I actually do just like spell it out for you exactly what each of these modes does. Some of them I don't bother putting on because I feel like it's self-explanatory, but most of them have tooltips now, and as well as all the presets now have tooltips as well. But anyway, there used to be a little bit of confusion about what everything available meant when choosing that for animal availability in previous versions of the game, and people were a little disappointed when they got into the game and it turned out that you didn't have every animal unlocked. Now that was actually never the point. The point really was that there's sort of different ways you can play the game, and with everything available, that means that eventually every single animal is available in the build menu. You can buy unlimited numbers of them once it's unlocked. And it sort of means that you've got unlimited possibilities, but I actually think there's a pretty fun, my favourite way of playing is actually on the standard or very limited versions, where not everything is available via that build menu, and therefore that's why you have to use trades, that's why you have to use merchants to get access to all the animals, and that can be quite fun because it creates a certain rarity value for some of your animals, and creates some interesting opportunities. So anyway, that's what it originally was. Had very limited standard and everything available, but it didn't mean that everything was actually unlocked. So people wanting a full-on sandbox, like free play mode where you had access to everything. Sorry if there's a little bit of knocking in the background. My next door neighbour's doing a little bit of work, so hopefully that won't be happening too much during this recording. But anyway, if you want to have that completely free way of playing where everything is unlocked and you have unlimited money, there are now options to do that. So anyway, that's what Everything Unlocked means. You start the game literally with every single animal, regardless of the rank you start at. And I've now explained a little bit better about what this randomized availability does, because I think there was a little bit of confusion about exactly what this did. This only affects the animal availability tab, and this basically means that each time you play, it will actually randomize which animals are available that you start with, which animals are available to unlock, and which ones are excluded from the game and have to be got by trades and merchants. When you're on Everything Unlocked, that randomized thing disappears because basically you've got it all, so there's no point of randomizing it. I've now put an option for equipment availability in as well. So it used to basically be always on this standard mode. This is just how it works in previous versions of the game. You just start with the game. You start the game with all the equipment unlocked from ranks up to, but not including your starting rank. And then the rest of the equipment is unlocked with science points as normal. Now, if you go on Everything Unlocked, that actually means that regardless of your starting rank, just like the animals, you have every single piece of equipment available. The rest of the objectives are pretty standard. The rest of these settings are pretty standard. And then we've got one more, which is unlimited money. So you might see a theme here. Basically, what I've allowed is by having a setting for everything unlocked, and then unlimited money. Essentially, what you're able to do now in a customizable way. If you desire, you can obviously have some of these settings and not others. You can create like a full sandbox experience where you can literally just hop into the game, have everything available. I know that some people like this from like testing point of views. They want to test a certain tank setup and then they could just jump in, not worry about money, not worry about having to unlock anything. So that can be quite helpful. Be warned, you know, if you play like this, you might reduce some of the kind of fun factor of unlocking new animals. So I would kind of recommend maybe either playing through the campaign first, or playing through maybe on a standard or a quick start play first, all the way up to rank 12. And then maybe playing on with everything unlocked. I think, you know, but obviously, you know, the settings are there for people to play however they wish. Now, what we're going to... Okay, so next, presets. So before, there was these 3 presets. You had standard, which was basically... This is very similar to the way the campaign plays, where you don't have everything available. You have most things available, but you can unlock, you get access to some things via trades and merchants, and you have side objectives to get some extra cash. Quick start was basically the same, but with just a slightly higher rank. And we had limited supply, which is where we had loads more trades and merchants, but you had very limited animal availability. So it was just even more of this sort of less was available from the build menu, and you had to use these trades and merchants even more. The next preset that we've added is full unlock. So in this mode, you start with everything unlocked. However, you still need to build a profitable aquarium to survive. So this is like half of the sandboxy type stuff. You've got everything unlocked, but we haven't turned on unlimited money. Now this is the mode we're actually going to play today. I think it could be quite fun. We'll have a bit of an experiment with trying to create a profitable aquarium without much money, right? But we're going to have every single bit of equipment and every single animal available. So it's going to be a bit of a weird one, because obviously we could just build a big tank and put a shark in, except we're probably not going to have enough money to do that. So that's going to be really interesting. We're going to have some fun with that in a second. Next is research mode. Now this is a relaxed mode where the pressure of profitability is taken away. So with this mode, and again, you can customize these. You know, you can switch any individual setting on these. These are just suggestions. So on research mode, basically you have unlimited money, but then you don't actually have everything unlocked at the beginning, and you start at quite a low rank. So the idea of this is you can hire, you know, as many staff as you like. You can build your aquarium as big as you like straight away, but you still have to work your way through the ranks to unlock all the equipment and animals. And I've not tried this one yet. I think that could be quite fun. I was tempted to play with that today, but I actually think full unlock will be more interesting, especially as I want to actually have the ability to show you some of the other stuff in the game. And with full unlock, what's great is everything is available, so I can show you all the new tools and fun features that I've added with this update. Finally, you have creator mode. You'll probably see what's coming here. It's the ultimate sandbox experience. Everything is unlocked, and you have unlimited money. So experiment as you see fit and build whatever it is your heart desires. So, you know, this has really kind of, there's not much of a game here anymore. You can literally, I mean, I suppose you can just, you know, build all the tanks and fill them with fish, and you still have to take care of the fish. I guess that's the interesting thing here. Your staff still need to get round and feed everybody. It doesn't stop things from dying, and you're still you can still kind of compete with yourself to get as high a prestige level as you can. But you have unlimited money and everything unlocked. What's quite fun about this is I've actually set it at the starting rank of 1, which I think is quite fun, because you can actually, I mean, you can change it to 12 if you just want to start at the highest rank, but I think it's quite fun starting at rank 1. So even though the rank won't affect how much money you make or what's available for you to build with, you can still sort of climb your way up the ranks and sort of gauge how you're doing. So I think, you know, I was a little harsh on this. There's still definitely a game to play there with creator mode, but you're just, you know, you're not going to have to worry about profitability, and you're not going to have to worry about unlocking stuff. Okay, so we are going to hop into a full unlock version of the game now. We've got our random seed. We're going to play on hard mode, because I kind of like that as a balance between difficulty, and, you know, especially on full unlock, we're going to struggle with money quite a lot, because we're going to be so tempted to build all these new things that are available straight away, even though we don't have the aquarium to sustain it. Okay, so let's hop into a game. Okay, so now, I think before I start building stuff, I'm going to actually just show off the other really major feature that's in this build, this update, which is this search menu. Okay, so there's a little button here, quite narrow, but you can actually also get to it just by pressing enter or return, whatever you like to call it. You can change that key via the hotkeys, so if you prefer a different kind of, you could make it tab, for example. That would be quite easy to access if you use your WASD to scroll around. I like enter because it sort of reminds me of like when you're typing a chat into a game, you know, you hit enter, then you start typing. So the way this search thing works is that basically you can type in little keyword filters to filter your build menu. So this is essentially the equivalent of having like a load of little drop downs to filter the menu. However, the problem with the drop downs is there's so many different things that you could search by, it would actually get really awkward to find them all. And I think this is a much more elegant solution. To be honest, I'm sort of inspired by Hearthstone, the collectible card game, because I thought this was a really neat feature on there, and I liked the way it was it had a mixture of, you could search for individual animals. So say I want a French angelfish, it's always my go-to. I can just type in French, and you'll notice that even just writing in fr, it starts to do things for us, and it will search for any keyword associated with that thing. You can see here that fr is actually matching on freestanding. That's why it's showing us the 3 freestanding tanks. It's matching on French, French. It's also matching on fried egg jelly. As you type in a little more, you can do this. But you could also type, angel. And now we're actually getting, look, here we got the angel fish, and we've also got the angel shark. So, you can type in quite a freeform way, and you'll be surprised at how good it is at picking up things. Now you don't just type by names, you can actually type by these icons. So, you can hover over any icon. So for example, imagine you want to find all the ones that dislike conspecifics, and then you can type in dislikes conspecifics, and that's all of these guys here. If you just type in dislikes, you'll actually get the things that dislike conspecifics, here we go, dislikes conspecifics, but you'll also get dislikes congeners and dislikes food competitors, right? So again, you can kind of be quite flexible with the way you search it, even dislikes likes. Now, as well as just doing kind of keyword searches, and again, I recommend you experiment. Just pretty much the rule is if you hover over it, you can pretty much just type in that first word, whatever it says before the full stop. So like cave leather would work, and then you've got like here greedy would work. So if you're not sure what to search for, you can find out by going and hovering over the icon. But if you hover over the actual search bar itself, it does give you this little cheat sheet. So I won't read this whole thing out now. You can go and experiment with this yourself. But the main thing is, if you look the last 3 before the hint, you've got size, water quality, and count. These are some keywords. They work a little differently to the others, where you can use them in combination with some numbers. So you can see the example there. You've got, if you type in size and then less than and equal to sign, that means less than or equal to 5, it'll just show the ones that are that size or less, pretty self-explanatory. And you can do the same with water quality and count. Count is actually very useful, because quite a common thing is you've already put a load of stuff in your aquarium and you want to find out what you don't have in the aquarium yet. Therefore, you can do count :0. It's not an equal to sign. Use colon for this one, and you can then add additional keywords, and it will combine them all together. So for example, we can actually write animal, and that will show us all of the animals that we've only got 0 of. If you wanted to, you could also say more than anything that you've got less than 2 of, for example, instead. You can do the same with water quality and other things like that. Okay, so that's the search menu. It's pretty cool. You can actually, once you've searched for something, you can press enter again, and it will bring it back up again. So say we want to go for something with low water qualities, because they'll be relatively easy to work with at the start of the game. We could select one, do a little bit of building with it, and then if I press enter again, or even just click on this menu, it doesn't reset the search, so you can keep coming back to the same place in the menu really quickly, which is pretty convenient. So, okay, we're actually going to do a little bit of building now before we talk a little bit more about features. So my tactic for this particular one is, man, I've just realized we've got really hardly any money, because I actually started on I think it was rank 2 or something. You know what, actually, just to speed up this one a little bit, I'm actually going to do the full unlock, but I'm actually going to start on rank 4, just because we're only, I've only got you here for a little bit for this vlog, so I want to do a little bit more. So that's going to basically slightly increase the rate at which people, sorry, the price that people pay when they come in the entrance. So we'll have a little bit more money than you normally would, and we start off with a little bit more money. So we're going to be able to do a little bit more with this. Now we don't want to spend too much money expanding. I've got to be really careful here. What I'm thinking is maybe some lagoon tanks to start with. They've got pretty good size. Or just deep tanks, or we could go straight for Belfast, but Belfast can get quite expensive quite quickly. Yeah, I quite like lagoon tanks. Yeah, let's go for a couple of lagoon tanks, and let's go for like quite low water quality animals, so that we don't have to put too much. We don't have to spend too much on equipment. But note that we have every bit of equipment available to us. But look how much a large double filter is. You know, it's. If you look at like just the numbers, this is 250 for 90 filter power. So this is 1,400 for 100 filter and 100 skim, and this is about 100, so it's 400. Basically, two of these is the same, but it costs 650 or 700, and this costs 1,400. So it's a really interesting, this particular game mode, I think, because it does make you really, normally in the campaign or the sandbox, you have enough money to use the latest equipment when you reach it, but in this mode you actually have all the equipment and yet you don't really have enough money to use half of it. You have to be very careful. I mean, look, I've already spent like a big chunk of my money just on 2 tanks. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to stick to regular filtering as much as we can. I think we're going to go 1 cold, 1 warm. Because actually cold water is actually quite surprising in terms of the water qualities that they require are not so big for their sort of rank and prestige. They're normally quite big, but their water qualities I find are slightly lower in general than a lot of the tropical stuff. So for example, if we go for like 60 tropical, actually let's have a little look at what we have in the cold water section. You know, we've actually got some pretty good prestige values here for some, you know, 60, 55, decent. I mean, there's not money in many of them, to be honest. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 total on the cold water. We could probably put all of those in. On the tropical, we have quite a few more, to be fair, but apart from the groupers, you've got and this green moray, you're struggling to get up to sort of high prestige values at these low water qualities. Humpback snapper is another good example. These all eat your other fish, so I think what we're going to go for is in our tropical tank, we're going to go for a load of little fish, nothing that's going to eat each other. I think doing something with these squirrel fish and soldier fish could be quite fun. We might even be able to get away with 55 instead of 60. Let's have a little look at that. See what we've got available. Yeah, we could probably put most of these in. Yeah, I like this. Okay, and I'm thinking maybe go for the oblique line dotty bag, because it means we won't be able to put any other dotty bag scrammers or antheas in. But I think it might be worth it just for that really good prestige. It is a bully though, which will cut out some of them. I think we'll be okay. Yeah, okay, let's go for a oblique line dotty bag. Oh, I've just done the wrong thing. It's very easy to go back to the livestock menu, but obviously what you actually want to do is hit enter or go click on the search bar to get back to our search. We're going to put a flame angel fish. This dislikes comp specifics, but it doesn't mind having a bully around it, which is good. We can certainly put 4 of these in, and we can put in 4 of these, 4 of these. Oh, we've almost filled up. Didn't even get any. I guess, to be honest, I kind of put everything I want to get in there because I don't want groupers eating everything. So we could just put maybe a King Demoiselle. Oh, that's a classic mistake. That doesn't like bullies. It's a wimp. So we'll go for, I guess, an Azure, or we could just put maybe 1 more half and half Chromis in. Yeah. Okay. So now let's do our aquascaping. So I actually get to show you the next big feature in the game, which is new plants, baby. Okay, so I'll probably make this like the thumbnail of the video, so you might have already seen this. Basically, there's 5 new plants. Now there used to be 7, so that brings us up to a total of 12. 1 of them unlocks at each rank, and this will affect your campaign game. So if you're new to the game, you're only on level 3 or whatever, don't worry. You're going to get to enjoy these plants with everybody else just as you play the campaign. You don't have to jump into the sandbox to get them. They will integrate seamlessly. So what's really exciting is we have some pretty cool big plants. This is actually a 2x6. It's huge. And this is unlocked quite late in the game, and it gives a lot of stuff. You get 20 rocks, 6 plants, and you actually get a really decent amount of filtering. That's the major change that I've done. Sorry, I should say, I've not just added plants, I've also rebalanced all of the plant values. And what I've tried to do is create a bit more of an interesting sort of mini game around the way you plant your aquascaping. Obviously it's fine just to decorate for aesthetic purposes, but also, you know, for the hardcore players out there, you might want to kind of do a bit of optimization with this stuff. And what I've done is I've tried to create a bit more difference between some plants which have the advantages that have a very high plant density. So in terms of this plant count, very high per tile, so that you can have an awful lot of plant-loving animals. But then you've got some other ones like this egg rack, which, for example, this is, you know, 3 tiles across. This is an existing one, this isn't new, but I've rebalanced it now. It gives you less plant count than, in fact, it gives you the same plant count as the asparagus weed, which is just 1 tile, so its density is like a third in terms of its plant count, but it has 12 nitrate reacting power. So actually the egg rack is great if you need a teeny bit of plants, but actually you want to have quite a lot of filter power. And this is sort of passive filtering that doesn't ever break down. So what I'm trying to create is a little bit of a mechanic where, if you've got the space for it, you might want to consider having some tanks with, they're called refugiums in real life, basically tanks with no display animals in them. What they do is they have this sort of live ecosystem which actually helps break things down and helps keep the water quality good. So there's more potential for that now. But so to go through the new plants, the first one you'll unlock is sea grapes. This comes out at rank 3. It's a 2x2. Let's have a zoom in and have a little look at it. In fact, we're definitely going to have one of these. I'm going to plonk one of those in the corner. So this is the sea grapes. Go look them up online. They look startlingly like this. Really, really cool. And what I decided sea grapes were going to be is a relatively large footprint. So they're not the most, they're a little bit awkward, you know, to fit into most tanks, and you know, you're not going to be able to use them to fill up that last little square that you have. And especially you guys will know, the long-term players will know that the rounded tanks can be quite awkward because you can't build in the corners, and so you often end up with these places which are just not appropriate for 2x2s or larger. But what I wanted to give was a really good value in terms of a mix of different things. So not only do you get 5 plants, which is, you know, while it's not the highest plant density in the world, when you unlock this, you've only got access to these 2. So it's almost as good as the eelgrass per square. It's better than the sea lettuce per square. But it also comes with 4 filter power. So actually, it's a really good sort of jack of all trades. The next one I think you unlock is, I think it's this rubber weed. Now the rubber weed has a similar sort of thing. It's not got the highest plant density, although it's not bad. It's 2 per square, which is actually the same as like the kelp, but it's not as good as the feather club, which you will have already unlocked. In fact, I've rebalanced this. This one is now got a slightly higher plant density than it did before. But again, what you're getting here is you're getting some filter power, but also it's got this big rock on it, so you're actually getting some rocks as well. And I think we're going to have one of these as well, because we actually need some rocks for that oblique line dotty back. He likes to have some rocks to break up the tank, make him a little bit less angry. He's just like a, you know, a teenager full of hormones, and he's just, you know, he needs a little bit of help to needs a little quiet space on the other side of the rock just to calm down. Sorry, no offense to any teenagers watching. I'm only messing around. The next one that we've added is the Velvet Horn. So Velvet Horn, actually you might be able to see a bit of a similar sort of thing here. This is another one which has a mixture of rocks and filter power and plants. It's actually quite similar in many respects to this rubber weed, except that it's, in fact I think the Velvet Horn might come out slightly before the rubber weed. I think I've got those mixed up because this is actually slightly less efficient than the rubber weed, but it's quite similar. But it works out. Does it work out slightly cheaper? Maybe not. Because basically, yeah, you can get 2 of these. Yeah, I'm just trying to work this out. Yeah, I think the rubber weed is just slightly better. I'm just looking at those prices actually. I feel like, if I'm honest with myself, it's not quite balanced, because I think 2 of these is just like better than this. you get more rocks, you get the same amount of plants, and you get loads more filtering. But I guess, so I feel like this shouldn't actually cost quite as so much. But then, you know, in fairness, this one gets slightly higher prestige, so yeah, maybe it's even. But anyway, so this is just like a bit like the rubberweed. It's got a mixture of all things, but it's a good one. It's a good one in comparison to turbanweed, basically. This one actually has some more plants. So turbanweed, which is already in the game, is not got that many plants for its level when you unlock it, but it does have rocks and a mixture of filtering. And this one is just... The Velvet Horn is great when you don't need that extra filtering, but you do want a few more plants in your little 2x2. And these are the final two, and you basically got the Chain Halimeda, which has no rocks, but it's got loads of nitrate reacting power and loads of plants. So this is a good one when you've got a big tank and you want to block out a few areas with it, but you're mostly interested in the filter power. And then the Shellweed is got quite a lot of normal mechanical filtering, or normal filter power, not much of the nitrate reacting because it's not quite as leafy, but it has the rocks and hardly any plants at all. So actually this one's really good in your cold water tanks because not many cold water animals actually need plants. So but a lot of them need rocks, and actually I'm not sure about that. Some of them need rocks, but you often need a lot of filter power. So it's a good one for just like pumping up the filter power. But it's very expensive. So anyway, the final thing we need here is a cave. So, oh, I've also pumped up the filter powers available on these live rocks because they just, I just again want to open up more opportunities for using them as a passive filter system. So I've put that Velvet Horn in a silly place. Let's tuck it down here. The rocky overhang there. Okay, so now we're going to add some dispensers. Now I really should hide the filters away, probably, shouldn't I, behind a closed door, but you know what we'll do for now is we'll do this, because I don't really think I've got the money to do anything with pumps at the moment, so we're gonna have to do something like this. So if you wanted to, I could write in. So if I write an orange pellet, it not only shows all the animals that need the eat the orange pellet as well as the dispenser itself. But if I write dispenser, then that will just show that. Okay, so we've got 2,400 left. We've got to make sure we got enough money for things. So Jamila would be not bad actually, not a bad starter. Worried about money. I think let's just go for a feeder who's going to do all of our feeding, and then let's just get someone who can fix and nothing else. Nancy's a decent fixer, I think. Quick learner with great potential. That's cool, yeah. And then what we're going to do is just turn off the feeding on Nancy. And we're not going to give either of them any zones. Let's get it open because I actually want to start earning money. Oops, I was meant to write door. So, let's look at the cold water. So, cold water, water quality, and if there's anybody who's watching who plays in another language, by the way, don't worry, all of this search stuff has been localized, so you need to just search for those terms in your own language and they will work. So, you know, don't worry, it's not, it will work just fine for you. So let's go less than 60. Now, pollock is always a bit of an annoying one because it eats fish. These guys eat crustaceans, but once these guys grow up, it will be fine. So I think what we need to start with is we need to get our crustaceans grown up. So let's start with the crustaceans first. Oh, this is one little tweak. I've added this, it now says starfish with size 2 or less, whereas it used to just say starfish. The honest thing is that actually it always checked for size just like the others, but I actually kind of got confused and didn't realise that. I thought starfish were just always eaten by anything that could eat starfish, and I went and checked and it turns out it just checks for size, and I had to think about it and I decided, yeah, that was better actually, for it to check for the size rather than like some tiny thing eating a big starfish. And I think it's more fun because it means that, like, for example, when you get this common starfish up to size 14, you know, it's no longer going to be able to be eaten by this crab. So I don't know, I think it's more fun having that sort of dynamic compatibility. So In fact, yeah, as long as the starfish grows quicker than the crab, then we could put both of these in. Strictly speaking, we probably want to get the starfish in first. And then we want to get the crabs in. Once these... I think we'll be okay, as long as everything gets fed. Oh, you know what? I have to get the crabs in, because the starfish is a scavenger. Therefore, it needs something else to be fed. So... let's put 4 of those in. We're not going to be able to fit much else in here. I forget all the cold water stuff's so big. That you can't actually fit that much in. It's not like the tropical where you know, like, how many animals are in here? Like 16-ish, 15. Oh, supplements. Yikes, that's an expensive one. I probably should not have chosen something that needed supplements. Okay, that's all my money. Okay, so we need to earn some money. Let's hope one of these is a side quest. Okay, so a tank with 3 King Demoiselle. So these are randomized. These are randomized in every game. You don't need to turn on randomized for these to be randomized. So yes, I like the look of this because I've already got some, well, one. No, I don't actually have one because it couldn't because it was a wimp. Arabian Blue Line Dotty Back. So like this is okay. This is nice. Get some money and let's just build another tank. We're gonna actually have to have separate tanks for those 2 things, annoyingly. I would love to connect these all up with pumps. But it's gonna be hard. Yeah, okay, no, this is worth doing. Sorry, I'm just like clicking around randomly. That must be really annoying. Power pump will do it. Okay, so let's do this. So those are now connected. Let's add our King Demoiselles. So that's now met. Let's put some sort of decoration in here. God, that's expensive. Let's go for the cheap little one square ones. Make it a bit more interesting. I think maybe a little bit of eel grass would look quite good as well. Now, how's the water quality? We're still at 60, which is fine, and this needs 55. Okay, so we can actually add a fair bit more stuff to here, but only stuff that's 55 or less. So we can't add the Arabian Blue Line because they will pester wimps, but we can add these Orchid Dotty Backs now because they... there's no oblique line which dislikes congeners, so let's put a few of those in. Let's have a little look at how that water quality is going. A couple more of these. Oh, maybe some... no, clownfish slightly higher water quality. Keep forgetting to press that. We've already got a flame angelfish, although doubling up on this might not be a bad shout. Yeah, let's put one of those in. Okay, great. That's actually now this is a really nice little set. We're really using this water quality to the max, and what's interesting is this has got 102. It's not a huge amount. We're adding a little bit with those sea grapes and the velvet born. Okay, we've got to get some benches down. Now, do we invest in the slightly better benches for the better prestige? I think we probably do. Something like that. Now, I've tweaked how the point bubbles look a little bit. I mean, mostly what I've done is redesign the system that runs underneath them. They no longer get split into like little 2s and 4s when there's a lot of them. I did that for performance reasons. Now there's no need to, because I've basically just rewritten the whole thing, so it's just like much more performant, and yeah, so that's pretty cool. So we're getting this one. We need to do this Arabian Blue Light. Okay. So this is also a tropical. So actually connecting this would be quite good. Let's just have 3 of those. Maybe 6. We're probably going to need some more water quality if I'm not careful. This can just be our little pump corner. So I'll cordon it off. Pumps don't require maintenance, so I can just, they never need to ever have access, which is cool. Now we do need a little bit more heater capacity. I think it might be worth just upgrading to a big heater. And not that expensive. And actually the water quality has dropped a little bit. Let's see what we can do with passive. I guess I don't want to spend too much on like expensive scenery, you know, aquascaping, which increases this too much. We could put a little bit of egg rack in, because 12 nitrate reacting might pump it up quite a bit. Yeah. You know, for people who don't know, I tried to explain this in game, but basically the more different types of filter type that you combine, the more efficient your filtering will be. Obviously more is always better of all of them, but for example, if we click on this tank, we've got 12 nitrate reacting and 100 of this. We could add like a little bit of skimming to that as well. That would be pretty good. Rather than like adding 12 more of this sort of filter, if you add 12 of this, it's more effective. Up until, you know, they're the same level, and then it doesn't matter which one you add, because it's all about having kind of the optimum is having equal amounts of all of them. But don't let that put you off adding more of a basic filter, because again, more is more. So like whatever you add, it will always go up. It just won't go up quite as much. Okay, let's unpause. Ooh, zebra moray eels. Now these have a slightly higher water quality requirement, so I won't go for those now, quite yet. Are these guys grown up yet? 3. Oh, I don't think we've got a toolkit. And also people are starting to want drinks, so now we could go straight in for the most expensive drink machine. I think we should actually. I think this will make its money back in no time. Maybe another bench over here. Oh, we should buy a bin. That'll do. So, time to show you a couple more of the features that I've added actually. So next is I've improved the painting a little bit, so I think we're going to go for an Aztec vibe. So it's not changed a huge amount. You can still drag to paint like this, but big change is it used to be very tedious to paint all of your floors, so now you can drag out a square when you're painting your floors. Now I experimented with dragging out a square to paint everything, and it was really hard to control. You ended up painting, like if you want to do fine-tuned control and paint some things with one theme and some things with a different theme, it was really awkward. So the drag to paint only works on the floor like that, but I realised that this is the one which was really tedious. I was doing that one manually. Let's switch to a different paint colour here. You know, because, you know, I don't know if you guys know, but, ooh, what was that bad? Negative prestige. Oh, the OJ is expensive. Now, they still buy it, but they just think it's expensive. But I think I really need the money, so that's fine. The more expensive you make it, the higher the chance they'll think it's expensive, but they'll still buy it if they're thirsty. Haha. Okay, so we got a bit more money then from finishing one of them. This one's going to come in soon. We'll get a bit more money. Couple of other little things. So now when you load up or save your games, you'll now see the difficulty listed on the game. Hard, normal, hard, which is really silly not to have. It was really awkward to find out like what difficulty you were playing on before, because it's very easy to forget, and sometimes because it remembers your setting, you know, you start a new game and you forget to change one of these things, and then you start maybe another game and you have changed it, and yeah, very easy to forget. So that's there. Oh, I've now switched to a proper borderless windowed mode. Now this is a bit silly basically. I kept forgetting to check the thing out. I thought I had to write a load of special code to do it, but actually it turns out I didn't have to. So yeah, now if you put it on borderless windowed mode and you have a second monitor, for example, and you want to click over onto the other monitor, that's fine. It won't like minimize it anymore. So yeah, I'm sorry about that. That really should have been like that from the beginning, but yeah, it just slipped under my radar. So that's a cool improvement. Oh yeah, I've done a lot of optimization. I talked about the point bubbles a minute ago, and I've done a lot of optimization in general, but another thing is that if your game does slow down a little bit, because you've got a very big aquarium, you'll no longer have this thing where all of the animations go out of sync with the simulation speed. The animation will just slow down to whatever speed the simulation's going at, so that's good. And you might have noticed I've really sped up this build menu. I mean, we've got literally every animal in the game here, and I've got a pretty fast computer, but still, you see how quickly all of those load. And you can kind of go in and out of menus really quick, and yeah, that's much quicker. But of course searching is even better, because if you search, you know, you're just going to see what you want, you're not going to see all of them. So that's been massively optimized, and just generally the whole game is just running faster. On my system, I've actually seen a 50% increase in frame rate, especially if I go down into low detail mode. I've kind of optimized low detail mode, so it reduces the quality a bit more, but you honestly will barely notice it probably if you've been playing the game for quite a long time. So yeah, if you're having any trouble with frame rate, I recommend trying low detail mode. You do that just by going options, graphics, and then taking the detail level down. I don't know why my shadow quality is taken off. There we go, turn shadows on, looks a bit nicer. And you can just pop up and down those. You don't need to restart the game or anything. So you know, why not start on the high levels, and then when it starts to slow down, drop it. But yeah, on my machine I actually got a 50% increase in my frame rate, and in a very, very large aquarium, like a huge level 12 aquarium. It will vary on my laptop. It wasn't quite such a big increase, maybe 20%, but I think, you know, you will all see an increase. So if that is something you've been struggling with, thank you for your patience. Big aquarium should be running a bit faster now. Definitely try knocking down those detail levels. Oh, and I haven't done much of it today, but this zoning tool has now been tweaked a little bit so that if you get to the end and you make all the zones, it'll actually start shrinking it, so you don't have quite such a small... There's still a limit, a maximum limit, it's like 20 zones, but it's still a lot better than it was. And also, if you have an awful lot of stuff and they need to wrap around, they'll wrap it about here, and then it'll also scale. So it's just a neater system in general, basically. Okay, cool. So I think that's pretty much. There's a load of other like minor bugs and stuff which I won't talk about, but there we go. That's like sort of like the major changes. The big ones obviously being the new plants, the new sandbox features, and the search menu. All pretty cool features. I don't know why I opened up that new area really. I just like felt the urge. I'm sort of waiting for these crabs to grow up so that I can put some things that... Oh, but they're armoured, so I probably don't need to worry. They've got a head start anyway. Let's go cold water. It's the wrasse that I'm thinking about. So these eat crustaceans, but even at full size, I don't think these can eat these guys because they're armoured. Yeah, size 10. So yeah, I shouldn't have worried. So which ones of these should we go for? We've got space for... Oh, wait, when these guys all grow up. Yeah, this is pretty much full. Okay, screw it. Let's just, should we put some shellweed in? It's worth 5 prestige points. Costs like so much of our money. It's probably a terrible idea. Let's just put some nice decorations in. Oh, it's so cute. Look at these massive starfish. I love it. So yeah, I think this is pretty much full. Yeah, this was mad. These guys aren't even going to get a chance to grow up. Grow up to size 9. Man, I forget how small lagoon tanks are. I'm going to have to like move these into a new tank. Okay. Last thing we're going to do before I wrap up the vlog is I'm going to build a big old Belfast tank. Should we do a tunnel tank? How much is a tunnel tank? Yikes. Okay, Belfast tank it is. We're going to go for a cold water Belfast tank. I don't think I'll bother linking these together. I think I'll just give it its own Actually, you know what? Let's do this. We can always move things around later, but... Oh, so other thing, you've got hotkeys for all of these now. So you've always had X for demolish, M for move, but now you've got expand is R, F is fill in. You've got T for walls, which is right next door, and then you've got P for platforms, and then just underneath you've got L for stairs. I've sort of like, you can change these, obviously they're all rebindable. Basically I couldn't use the actual like letter for most of them, so I kind of try to group them in sections that made sense. Alright, so better be a large one of these. Let's add a door on either side. I don't know why I do this. The door's at the top of the menu anyway. Not enough money. Wonderful. Let's take a load of quests that we can never actually complete and just take the money. 3,600. Oh yeah. Okay, so I think what I'm going to do, so first things first, I'm going to move... I don't know whether to... Yeah, I'm going to move a couple of these across. And then, so that they have space to grow, and those ones in the other tank have space to grow. And then... Oops, let's go for cold water, water quality, less than or equal to 60. These guys eat crustaceans and starfish. Starfish up to size 9 when fully grown. But these guys are all going to be size 7, and then they'll be size 14, but that takes 5 days. This will take 5 days. I think I need to wait a bit longer before I do my turbot, so I think we can... But let's just go with these guys, because these guys are completely safe. 1, 2, 3... These would be about size, what? 10. And these would be 14. So I think we can do 5 of those and 5 of these. Okay, they'll definitely want some caves. Of course they do. Let's maybe go for a gape. 2,000 for a gaping cavern. How about no? And then some cockles. Wow, everything eats cockles. That's very convenient. I really probably need to give this some sort of filtering before the end of the day, don't I? Yikes. I shouldn't have spent all that money. Okay, starfish, you guys... Wait, okay, large filter. I think power filters are our cheapest way of doing this. 3 of these, yeah, is better. Or is this better? 16. Let's go with these. There we go, got it up to the required amount. I'm just doing that while, I mean, maybe I'll just go with the power filters. Maybe I should just be using the little ones. I mean, they're a bit of a pain when they break down, but currently I don't seem to have a problem with that. I'll upgrade them when my fixer is kind of maxed out. Oh god, I've got all the... Wow, I just realised I have all of the gift shop stuff available, so I could make quite a lot of money probably with this stuff. They are quite expensive to get in. Copper band toys are pretty good value. 1,600 for this though. Balloons are better because you need more of these balloon supplies generally, because they don't hold quite as many, but they're just slightly easier to get like into. Has anyone leveled up yet? Ah, I can take that money. You're meant to use the money they give you to actually build the tank that they've asked for, but you know what, disco mushrooms could be good. How much do they need in terms of water quality? Ooh, 70. A little rich. And we need some mussels here as well. And this needs a little bit more water quality. Maybe a little protein skimmer. Yeah, my fixer's going to have her work cut out. Okay, we need a gift shop person. Someone cheap. $49. $38. Yeah, we'll go for Tobias. Oh. Clicked the wrong one. In fact, I don't need to go into here, do I? I can just take his feeding and fixing down. I'll give him secondary fixing. And then... Now we've got 2 guys, we do have to actually have, like, multiple toolkits. And you know what, our feeder, I think, is actually gonna... You know what? Change your mind. Wow, those balloons sold out in no time. I think you are gonna have to feed, actually. And you're only gonna work in this area. And then we're gonna have... Oh, in fact, I've got to be a little careful, because... If you do it adjacent, they will do it. I kind of didn't like that at first, but I decided for the zones you should make it as like permissible as possible, because the worst is if someone thinks it will work but then it won't. So you know, it's sort of better that things feed by accident rather than they don't feed by accident. Right, and then Nancy, no, Jamila, you're my feeder, so you're going to go here. We're going to give you a zone, which is everything else. Okay, great. Love the new zoning tool. Really good. Alright, well I think I'm going to have to wrap it up there, guys. Ooh, I could have given this person a high level of... could have given this person gift shop. I might give this person cleaning, although... Oh, no, you know what, I think I probably... Oh no, you know what, I will give you cleaning. And I'll actually make you clean first. But then I probably need to just hire like a fixer. Someone who's just like very good at fixing. Sven, you're pretty good at fixing. Bit expensive though. Yeah, Cal, that's the sort of person I want. Here we go, rank 5. So yeah, it no longer shows in this mode, because we've unlocked everything, it doesn't show you the unlock tab afterwards, which is quite nice, speeds things up a little bit. That's another little tweak. Yeah, we'll go for Cal, and you can just be our main fixer, while the other person can do a bit of cleaning. Alright, well there we go. My new aquarium up and running, starting to thrive, I think you'll agree, but I think I've made this vlog long enough, so if you made it to the end, thanks so much, and yeah, go get the update and play the game. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Bye-bye.